Just to remind you then, what we did is we did some expanding to look at the pattern to help us factorize, which is the opposite. And the pattern that we discovered, is basically when you expand, the number at the end that has no x, that's the result of taking these two numbers and multiplying them. And the x value, the coefficient of the x, is those two numbers added because we found that for each one. Even if it's negative, look, -6 at the end is 3 times -2. Right. So, what does that mean for us? Well, if I said to you, guys, x squared, let's do plus 8x, let's do plus 7. Okay, so we want to factorize. Now that means we need to put it back into the brackets that it was in the other. So this is, as you are aware, this is expanded form. And we want to go to factorize. Now, what we know is, because there's no common factor, remember talking about the highest common factor and taking that outside the bracket? Well, we don't have anything because we've got 3 terms and there's no number that comes out of 3. There's no x in 3, so it looks like it doesn't factorize. So in that case, what we're hoping for, this always works, by the way, but we'll do is we check and see whether it will go to factorize form. And our first attempt is to say, right, there could be 2 sets of brackets, and we're looking for the values that could go in there. And it could be a plus or a minus, so we're looking to fill those gaps. Okay? That makes sense. Now, like I said, it's not possible. And the ones that it's not possible, do it. Would anyone like to have a go? This is going to be. Well, I'll give you one thing, which is x squared can only be done with the x times the x times x. If you remember, imagine the grid, yeah? So if I have the grid, if this is x squared is going to be there. How do I make x squared? X and x. So it has to be there. So I know the x and the x is there. Now, using the grid method, we also know that this number in the bottom right-hand corner is going to be what? It's going to be 7. All right. So what numbers must be here and here? Well, those are 2 numbers that multiply to make 7. So what numbers could multiply to make 7? 1 and 7, and that's it. Yeah? 1 times 7. So actually, it looks like if we have plus 1 here and plus 7 here, that would be the right thing, yeah? So we look like that is our only option. So I'm going to have x plus 7 and x plus 1. But I should just check something, all right, which is it true that 1 plus 7 makes 8? Because if I do my grid look, x times plus 1 would be plus x, 7 times x would be plus 7x. Those 2 would add together to make 8x's. So we've got it. So this, I'm happy with. So this here is factorised form.
So factorized form is when we make the answer introduce equals.
Yeah.
And then.
So the opposite one. So this is expanded. Expanded form is actually another name, standard. At the moment, we'll talk about it. This is expanded form. This is factorised. I'm going to give you another one to do. All right. So, sec. Let me. I give you another one. Now let's think carefully about this one. So factorize x squared plus 6x plus 9. Let's have a go at that. So I don't need to fill out the grid, I've already figured it out because then that this would be plus 3x, this would be plus 3x, which would indeed make it 6x. Yeah. Two things multiplied together. If they are the same thing, it's squaring, right? So just over here, 4 times 4 can be written as 4 squared. D times D can be written as D squared. So when you multiply anything by itself, you can write it square. Now you don't have to, but it's good to recognise that you see it in the sheet. Now I'm going to do one more with you, and then I think the first page of that sheet we do. The way I'm going to make it slightly harder is I'm going to introduce negatives. Okay, so factorize x squared plus 3x minus 10. So x squared plus 3x minus 10 is the next. We're now looking for two numbers that multiply to make negative 10. All right? So we want two numbers that multiply to make negative 10, and then add to make positive 3. So we might need to list our options for negative 10. What numbers multiply to make negative 10? Negative 2 times 5. 2 times negative 5.
1 times negative 10. Negative 10.
Same thing, but negative 1 times positive 10.
Yeah.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
So now we don't have so much to think about because I know it's got to be one of those options. So which ones of those add to make positive 3? Well, if I do negative 2 plus 5, what do I get?
Yes.
If I do 2 plus negative 5, what do I get? If I do 1 plus negative 10, if I do negative 1 plus positive 10. So we want two numbers that multiply to make 10, that's all of those. But only one of those options gives me adding to make positive 3. This one already. Very first one we did. So actually we didn't need to do that. I've shown you how they don't work. So once I found that, so that means I've got negative 2, positive 5. So they go in the brackets. -2, +5. Now, if I want to do my grid check, it would be -2, +5. That would give me -2x. That would give me +5x. This would give me -10. +5x minus 2x would be 3x, which is what? Is that a bit? So this listing all the options starts becoming a thing, guys. That you have to consider. It doesn't come straight, you have to list them. And I do the same thing. But you can see in this particular option, for this question, we only, remember, we have to have two numbers that multiply to make -10 and add to make +3. The only numbers that can do that are -2 and +5. So it's not always going to be -2 and +5, but it has to be in this case. There's no other option. So, over to you. Here's your grids. All right. So just, you can do it. I'm not going to go through it, but remember you need two things that multiply to make -6. So what multiplied by what? And then they need to add to make 1, because there's 1x. So they need to add to make 1. So it's a little bit settled. Over to you. And then the rest of them are actually just all positive ones on that first page. So you should be able to do those. Actually, 5, 6, 7, they get negative. 8 will be a tricky one. Be interested to see what you come up with that one. But you can probably at least do the first page, I think, before needing too much more guidance. Hopefully. If you need guidance, you need guidance. Okay, go for it. So this one, the first one, just checking what Luke was doing. So two numbers that multiply to make -6. Well, he started with 1 times -6, -1 times +6. Then it was 2 times -3, and -2 times, but I don't think he did it in quite that order. Those are the options, yeah? Did you get those options?
So it's x minus 2, the next one.
So which ones of those add together to make what? Well, -2.
Oh, no, x is a 1.
Yes,
Okay.
it's 1x. So we now need -2 plus does indeed make 1. So that's the good one. So what does that mean? Well, my answer would be x minus 2, x positive 3. It's +3. So now you do factorising. Now, you'll notice all these ones have only got 1x squared. Makes it less. They do get a little bit more complicated with 1x squared. It's not as we have to take. So the next one, we're looking at two numbers that multiply with positive 6 and add to make 5. So we're looking at this number, yeah? 6 times 1, 2 times 3, yeah? And then, yeah, out of these two options, only 2 plus 3 makes the 5. And they're both positive numbers, so therefore you must have x plus 2 because it's positive, times x plus 3 because it's positive.
X plus 5. X 5.
Yeah, so if you did, remember, when you're filling the grid in, you're filling this side in first. So I would put my x squared there, and then I don't know what these are, because they get split up. But I do know that down here must be a 6. That number goes in that bottom corner. So then I know that what multiplies to make x squared? Well, it must be x and x. Yeah, x times x. And then these two numbers multiply to make them 6. So what are my options? Could be 5 and 1, right? So if it was plus 5 and plus 1, well, do they multiply to make 6? No. So 5 and 1 can't be it. Okay? It could be 6 and 1. That would make 6. But then it would be plus 6x and plus f. If I add those together, I get 7x, which is not what I want. I only want 5x. So I know that that can't be, right? Therefore, it can't be plus 1 and plus 6. Therefore, I need another option. 6. So you can see here, we did 6 and 1, but actually another way of making 6 is plus 2 and plus 3. That also makes 6. Now, these would be plus 2x and plus 3x. Those do add to make plus 5.